Hey everybody, and welcome to the Everything Voiceover Podcast. My name is Justin D. Torres. The Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by the Voice Realm, where only professional voice actors are listed. Oh boy, if you remember the podcast a while back, I talked to everyone about whether to market or not to market, and all the little bits and pieces that you need to get, whether it be a website or a demo or all these things. So I if you were listening to it and you hadn't done any marketing, you might have been scared off not to market. And now we're going into Branding 101, which is a whole slew of different things that you just... if you're listening to it now and you don't have a brand set up and you don't have a website, just listen to it for the sake of listening to it, just to have little seeds in your mind grow about what you should be thinking about as your voiceover career goes further. And this is something that you should just be thinking about. Just be thinking about branding. Now, this is Branding 101. And, today we're going to talk a little bit about branding, which works hand in hand with marketing. And because you know what they say, that a good brand is marketable and a bad brand is not marketable. A good brand will bring up something specific, a feeling, a way of being, and a bad brand just brings up generalized stuff. So we're going to give you a little bit of information on Branding 101. Now, first off, a lot of these ideas piggyback on ideas from a book that I bought called The Voiceover Achiever by Celia Siegel. Now, Celia is a VO branding wizard, and she's a bit too expensive for me, but lucky for me and us, she actually wrote a book, and that book is available on Amazon, and I would suggest everyone who's curious about branding or is a professional voiceover actor to go check it out, because she specifically works with VO branding. And she's, I've never met her, but I've heard a couple of interviews with her, and she seems amazing and nice and helpful, and she seems to know what she's doing. She comes from the producing aspect of the voiceover world, so she's casted, and she's very, and I've read the book, and it's very helpful and very informative, and it shows a lot of examples of good branding and bad branding, and, it's just really... it's a really good book to have, and especially, and if you're at the professional level and you can afford her, I'd say go check out Celia Siegel and go ahead and Google her and get her book or just hire her. I also took a class at Abacus Audio in New York City with Tom Deere, and that's Dheere, which was amazing. And Tom's a VO wizard in his own right, and he'll be doing webinars every month from New York City, and I suggest all of you guys check out Abacus NYC and Tom Deere and check them out, because these are people that have a lot of really good information. They know how to brand on their own, and they know how to get their jobs without using pay-to-play sites, and it's something I'm trying to do to try and work on my branding, work on campaigns, and trying to figure out how to get those clients that are not always available through pay-to-play sites. So... what is a brand? What is your brand? Well, your brand is basically you. And what you're going to sell is you. What makes you different? What makes you special? What are your quirks? What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? What are your hobbies? What do you love to do? What makes you uniquely you? And the reason why you're doing that is because you're reinforcing who you are, You can find your brand through, self-inspection. You can ask friends and see how they view you and those things. When you get when you're questioning what your brand is, you can look at a bunch of different ways. You can brand your sound or, your individuality and what you love to do. You can, in my opinion, branding your sound is a little bit more useful for voiceover. However, the more you do voiceover, the more you figure out your own voice. So hopefully you haven't been doing a voice the whole time, and, maybe, because I have my own e-learning-ish voice, but as I start doing more and more e-learning, I start figuring out what my voice is, and that might change as time goes on, and I need to brand accordingly to how I am when I do voiceover. And you want to figure out what makes you... what makes you you, and which one will lead your brand. Examples of good brands, let's say in movies, when you're doing like a pitch of something, you could call the Hateful Eight, the Pulp Fiction and the Wild West. Or, VO, you might be the poor man's Morgan Freeman. Or, those are just small aspects of it. Or you want to kind of think visually for your brand. You're not just the guy next door, which I've used ad nauseum. You're not just the guy next door. You're the teacher next door who will look after your dog if you're gone. Or maybe you're like the school teacher that all the girls had a crush on. The science teacher, maybe not even school teacher, maybe the science teacher that everyone had a crush on. So he's maybe young and maybe has a cool sound and is kind of like overly enthusiastic about stupid little science stuff, Or maybe the smiley sci-fi geek, because a lot of sci-fi geeks maybe are just like, not too happy. But the smiley one, there might be some, I kind of know that guy. I was like, oh yeah, there's some really fun, crazy sci-fi geeks out there, So, think about those three aspects. Do those bring up a visual? Do those maybe have a sound to them? And is that you? Your sound is special, which makes your brand special. So think about those things that you do in your everyday life. Think about things you love to do, things that make you uniquely you, things that, really help getting all this, all your branding in one place. What do you like to eat? Are you a foodie? Are you a blogger? Are you an Instagrammer? Are you a Snapchatter? These are all things that are uniquely you. Now, also, your brand should have a direct reflection of what you really want to do in voiceover. Now, if you want to do audiobooks, then maybe the Best Buy guy who Dad likes is not going to be a good job for that, Maybe an audiobook brand might be, the young protagonist or the fiery youth. Those might work more for audiobooks. Or from a female perspective, maybe, the American Hermione Granger. These things will get you more of a feel of what your books are going to be like, what your sound is going to be like. And, it reinforces your choices of what you want to do in this thing, because you may end up doing a million e-learning, but if you've been really wanting to do children's books the whole time, maybe you should start shooting for the ones that you really want to do, because this is a money game, but it is also, you want to be able to go after the jobs you really want, that you can be proud of when you go to sleep at night. Because, it is a money game, and you all want to make money, and you all want to be able to support a career, but there's also something to be said about doing what you love. Because, I do a million e-learning books and stuff like that, and it's fun and it's good, but I have more love for PBS-style stuff and kids stuff. So I was talking about myself just a second ago, so I'm going to start working on a brand that reflects that aspect and still go after all the e-learning stuff, and maybe I'll make another brand for the e-learning section. So that's definitely something I have to keep in consideration as time goes on. Now would be a good time to say that the Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by the Voice Realm, where only professional voice actors are listed. Now, the point of your brand is to sell you as something unique, different than anyone else. You can only get this from this person here, uniquely you. But if you want to go to Brand Town, here are a few things that come with the branding experience that you'll want to do after you get your brand or as you are thinking about your brand. Maybe if you can start thinking about these items that are going to come as your branding gets older and bigger, you may want to start taking notes of these things as you start thinking about it. You're going to want to get a website running. That means icons, that means animation, that means, who knows? Be as creative as you want with it. The more you it is, the better it'll be. Maybe have a blog connected to it. Maybe have an Instagram account connected to it. Maybe have a game connected to it. Who knows? And with that website, you're going to have demos that really reflect the brand that you're doing. So as you are doing jobs nowadays, maybe if there's a job that you really, really enjoy and love, you make sure you get that copy so that you can put that up on your demo and really reflect that. If you've got 5 jobs that you just cannot wait to show people, then get those jobs all nice and put into like a little folder so that when you want to do like a reel, you're going to have it all nice and ready. So, and you want to be able to assess your client base. Who do you want to work with? Who's on your list? If you're an athlete, do you really want to work with Nike, or do you really want to work with Adidas? Or do you really want to, if you're like a gym rat, is there some company that really reflects what you like? If there's some company that has a certain type of supplement that you really put your money behind, why not call them up and say, hey, I love your product. I think I can represent it well. Why not go for the gold? And who should your brand work with? Who do you think you should work with? Because right now, when people go out and they've got their brand, and if it's a generalized brand and anyone can do it, then you have the entire world at your feet to figure out where the clients are. When that doesn't really help you out, because you're just going to be looking through the phone book and sending out cold calls, and that's not necessarily the best idea. But if you're only looking for, say, audiobook publishers, you've cut the whole thing down by 90%. Or if you're only looking for clients that sell shoes, then you can cut that down even more. If you're only looking for, if you're a very motherly sound, you can look for, kids, maternal companies, Try and figure out where your sound fits, so that you can cut it down a little bit and really work towards getting the clients that really work with you, that you want to work with, and you think they would definitely love to work with you. And with that comes social media campaigns. You're going to want to create certain types of campaigns. If you're the crazy mom who's always frustrated all the time, maybe your website should talk about that, or maybe you should have like little social media posts that are talking about various aspects of your crazy life, or how you organize everything, but you're still a little frazzled. That's cool. That's great. I mean, the more you it is, the better it's going to be, the more fun it's going to be. Once you have your brand, you're going to want to grow it. And it takes a long time to grow because, if you don't have the money for it, you're going to want to grow your brand as calmly it's going to take a lot of time, because it comes with social media and it comes with doing jobs that reinforce that brand. And, you grow it by doing interesting, fun posts that coincide with the brand itself. If I'm the Guitar Hero guy, or the chubby Guitar Hero guy, because that'd be a different feel. That has a different sound to it, doesn't it? Then, I might review tabs, guitar tabs that come out. Or I might talk about new games that are like Dance Dance Revolution for guitar, Or, I might review music that comes out. And, I might review it with voiceover. Why not? I'm the Guitar Hero. Hey, this is Guitar Hero guy. We're going to review the new album of System of a Down that's come out in 1999 that I listened to back in the day. I love it. It's awesome. And then, do enough of those that people will be like, hey, that guy would be great for my I'm doing a Guitar Center promo. That guy would be awesome. Let's get the Guitar Hero guy. Why not? And you also, here's the big thing, and this is going to be entirely opposite of one another. I'm going to say two sentences that are opposite one another. You have to have a willingness to change and evolve. Sites will be scrapped. Brands may not work. You have to, a great telltale sign if your brand isn't working is if you aren't booking, or people aren't interested, or you're not getting posts, or you're not doing it. You don't feel like it's a good idea. You have, this whole point of branding is that it's uniquely you, and that you have to love yourself. You have to be kind of a rock star that's like, yeah, I am this, so I'm going to talk about stuff that I like, the stuff that I love, and it should be painless to do. And on the other hand of the spectrum, the opposite, you also need to be patient as well. Give it time. Talk to your friends. Hire a coach like Celia to just get it all done for you. It'll be costly, but at least you'll have a semblance of what you need to get done. And look at ask people that you know, ask people that you barely know, and see what do you think of me? Like what would you think I am? And if you're a voiceover person, that changes as well. Have them listen to the voiceover demo of yours and see, what do you think this sounds like visually? What kind of person does it bring out? And that's cool. Now here's a very fun experiment for branding that you're trying out. And you may want to give it a shot. And these are for the people who are on pay-to-play sites or have agents, and they get a lot of auditions from agents, that you can try something different, okay? I want you to do a bunch of auditions trying to push the brand that you are trying to push, like really trying. Remember, it's like if you get a thing for a young father, you're not just a young father, you're a father that works at Best Buy. Or like a closeted Dungeons and Dragons dad. That's a very specific sound. You're not just a middle-aged female, you're the young Sigourney Weaver, How does that inform the audition? If I was doing an audition for the guy, I might be like, my normal would be like, technology has been changing. Normal. But if I'm a dad and I'm work at Best Buy, I might say something like, can I help you, sir? Oh, you want to look at this? Oh, well, technology has been changing. That sounds a little bit different. If I was a woman, I might go with technology has been changing. Normal. But if I'm a young Sigourney Weaver, I might be a little bit louder and more classier. If it's like planet Earth, technology has been changing. It might change it up just a little bit. And whether it works or not, it's just trying different things to try and figure out where it fits. The point is your brand isn't a character. I know it felt like I was doing characters there for a second, but it's not. It's reinforcing who you are. If you're a young Sigourney Weaver, you're a girl who likes classy stuff. Maybe she reads books and wears dresses, goes to art places, goes to art exhibits. Maybe, maybe just doesn't really like younger men and is very articulate. And if that's someone who you are, this should reinforce that entirely. As a dad who works at Best Buy, I maybe play games, I maybe fix computers, and I love to help my kids out with their science projects because I don't really know how to do the English projects. Maybe I have a couple of old comics and I play Dungeons and Dragons with my old friends from high school, but I'm a really nice guy, What you are, or who you are. Those are all the encompassing things of a brand. It will inform you. Your whole process, who you are, informs you. And it makes it easy. Okay, so Pat Fraley once said, and I took a class with him, which I'll probably review in another podcast. He said in this class, the biggest misconception of voice actors is doing a job that the way we think the client wants it. And that will get them the job. That is not the way you get jobs. You get the jobs by doing it your way. You do it your way. You stay in the audition. You get called back, or you get called in, or you get put on hold because you're specifically you. And then they can direct you in the direction that they really want. But they want a human. They want someone who's a fully formed person, not just a speaking head or a talking head. All right, this has been the Everything Voiceover Podcast. The Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by The Voice Realm, where only professional voice actors are listed. Thank you guys so much for listening. I know it's crazy. Branding can be a pain. Just kind of allow this podcast to put a couple of seeds in your mind and, go out and get Celia Siegel's book, or go check out Abacus NYC and check out Tom Deere's webinars. You're just dipping your foot into it. And, it may be insanely hard, and it may be a long process, but the earlier you start the process, the earlier you figure out who you are and what your brand is, the easier it's going to be to get going. Because what may end up happening is you're going to start forming a brand of something you don't really like, and you don't really feel like it's worthy, and then you will lag. So I hope this helps some people out there. Please head to everythingvoiceover.com and check out our articles and videos, or go ahead and follow us on Twitter at EverythingV. Thank you guys so much for listening. Once again, I'm Justin D. Torres. Have a great day.